Grace Millane murder, man guilty of killing backpacker in New Zealand. University of Lincoln graduate Grace Millane was on a round-the-world trip at the time of her death. Her family described Miss Millane as our sunshine. Grace Millane's father David paid tribute to his daughter and said her murder had ripped apart the family. In the hours before she disappeared, Miss Millane and the defendant were seen in the Sky City development. Grace Millane's last movements were captured on CCTV. The killer's identity is suppressed under New Zealand law. A man who strangled a British backpacker and hid her body inside a suitcase has been found guilty of murder. Grace Millane was found buried in bushland outside Auckland, New Zealand. News script from BBC. A jury at the city's High Court rejected claims by the 27-year-old man, who cannot be named, that she died accidentally during rough sex. Miss Millane's parents David and Gillian wept in the public gallery as jurors convicted their daughter's killer. He showed no emotion as the verdict, reached after about 5 hours of deliberations, was read out. Justice Simon Moore said the defendant would be sentenced on the 21st of February next year. Mr. and Mrs. Millane, who had flown to New Zealand to attend the trial, said the verdict would be welcomed by every member of the family and friends of Grace. Speaking outside the court, an emotional Mr. Millane said the family's lives had been ripped apart by his daughter's barbaric murder. Grace was our sunshine and she will be missed forever, he said. Jurors heard the defendant and Miss Millane had met via the Tinder dating app on the 1st of December last year, the night before Miss Millane's 22nd birthday. They spent several hours drinking cocktails in bars around Auckland before going to the defendant's hotel. All clips may not match the story. Watch to become bilingual with latest world news. Miss Millane, from Wickford, Essex, was found in the mountainous Waitakere Ranges a week later. Prosecutors said post-mortem examinations found bruises consistent with restraint on her body, and that she had been strangled. On the night of her death, the court heard, the defendant wasn't distressed or concerned by her death, and set about making plans to dispose of her remains. He sexualized the killing by searching for pornography, stopping at one point to take lewd photos of her corpse, prosecutors said. The following day, he went on a Tinder date with another woman while the body of Miss Millane remained in the hotel room. He had bought a second suitcase in a bid to cover his tracks, as well as cleaning products and a shovel, jurors heard. The defendant did not give evidence in his defense. Miss Millane's death prompted an outpouring of public grief in New Zealand, with the country's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern apologizing to her family. The University of Lincoln graduate had been on a round-the-world trip, traveling in New Zealand for 2 weeks after spending 6 weeks in South America. Why can we not name the killer? In New Zealand's court system, there is provision for names to be suppressed in legal cases, which means it becomes illegal to publish it in newspapers, online or anywhere else. The purpose is to protect people not yet proven guilty, but also to have a fairer trial by ensuring the jury is not prejudiced by media coverage. Images can also be withheld. Justice Simon Moore ordered that the suppression order which prevents naming the defendant would remain in place indefinitely until lifted by the court. A pathological liar, the killer's stepbrother speaks out. Following the verdict, the stepbrother of the murderer spoke to television station TVNZ reporter Paul Hobbs. The man, who also cannot be named for legal reasons, said he initially thought Miss Millane's death could have been an accident, but when he saw the timeline of events, his view changed. His stepbrother, he said, was a pathological liar that lies over pointless things and continues to lie until the point where he's got no out, absolutely no out, and then he just breaks down and cries and runs away. It's just absolutely terrible that a life had to be lost because of it. He said he did not think his stepbrother intended to kill Grace, but said, in that moment he just kept going, and he took Grace's life. In an interview with police, shown during the trial, the defendant was seen to break down in tears. His tears, to me, they're more tears for himself. Apologizing to the Millane family, he added, "I'm just so incredibly sorry for their loss. To know it's one of our family members, even though it's not our actions, it's very difficult, and I can't imagine the pain and hurt and what the Millane family had to go through for a court hearing. To me that's all because he doesn't have any shred of a decent human being inside him, and couldn't just confess to the fact he murdered her." Please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.